program. Talk 103.7 WTIP and Cable Channel 7 welcome you into Financially Speaking with Jim Taunton. Find us live on radio, TV, the IPX Media app, and on YouTube. Just search Financially Speaking NC or get the link at WTIPFM.com. The opinions expressed in this show are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities and investment advisory services are offered through Genois Wealth Management Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Now, here's your host for Financially Speaking, certified financial advisor, Jim Taunton.
Welcome to Financially Speaking. Jim Taunton here, your host for the next 30 minutes. Glad you joined me. And tonight we have an EC football game at 8 o'clock. It's pretty cool. It's actually on ESPN2, one of the big ones, the Deuce. And it's a blackout. I didn't wear the black hoodie because of that. That just happened to be a coincidence. But anyway, I'd love for you to go out and support them after you listen to the program. But let's go Pirates. And we've had so much going on in the last week. I actually thought about not doing a program because the game was on tonight. But we've just had a lot going on. So we're going to talk about a lot of things. But I'd rather talk about something that you feel is important enough to give me a call about. So call me with a financially related question. If you call during this couple-minute break coming up, I'll take your call first when we come back, and we'll talk about anything you want to talk about financially. And the number is 252-561-TALK, 252-561-8255. And as always, if you call in with a question, your name goes into the drawing for the dinner for two and Tavola. I'll even pay the tip. So there you go. And we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Hayden Golf and Country Club invites you to become a member. Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates, low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Hayden Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart, unless you like to walk. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Hayden Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection to the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
All right, we're back. We've got that low volume thing again going on. I can hardly hear what's going on as far as music and things. And Lord knows if I have a caller. I have to have a translator. All right. Wow. We elected a president, and we elected senators. We elected a bunch of House of Representatives. And we don't know about the House yet, but Senate and President are Republican. And House of Representatives is leaning that direction as well. So the Republicans could have a sweep of the government. last time the governments had all the power, they fumbled the football and didn't get accomplished what they wanted to get accomplished, which was very disappointing. So maybe they'll handle it a little bit better, a little more wisdom this time around. But I was going to make some comments, and we're going to talk about the election and the effect and that kind of thing. But again, call me with your questions. 561-TALK, 561-8255. Love to talk with you about something you think is important to you, anything financially related. And call in, we'll put your name in the drawing for the dinner for $2. All right, the Trump trade, first of all. Day after voting day, when we knew who was the next president, the market went up right at 4%. And that is an astronomical number. And we're calling it the Trump trade because really that's the only reason the market would have gone up that much on Wednesday. And, you know, there are a lot of commentators, individuals I've spoken with that don't like Trump's economic policies. I think he's going to ruin everything. And the market disagrees with them. And actually, the market probably is the best judge. They provide the best commentary on what is reality. And the market has spoken, been up actually 2 days now. Yesterday was, even the Dow was up 1,500 points, but across the board about 4%. Today it was up, not as much, but still up. So there was no bounce downward after that Trump trade on Wednesday. So the market says they like it. It's just that simple. The market says it was a good thing for Trump to be elected and the Senate to go Republican. And again, looking like the House is going to go Republican as well. I'm going to talk in a minute about performance of markets under a swept government, under a split government, and various parties holding offices. And it's quite interesting, actually, to see the numbers. I bet I'll surprise you. The Fed today, on top of the positive momentum from the Trump trade, lowered rates again by 25 basis points, which was absolutely expected. If they hadn't done that, it would have been a big negative. But they did, 25 basis points. They are going to continue to lower rates. And the reason is inflation is continually going down. And, the timing of Trump being elected reminds me of times when I acquire new clients and their assets. And it's just right in the middle of a raging bull market. And the bull just continues, for months. And Jim looks like a genius because the account is performing so well. And Jim may have done a reallocation, but if the market didn't do well, it doesn't matter how you allocate it, it's not going to do well. So timing is everything. And I tell clients that. I said, look, I'm not a genius. I'd love to take credit for it, but just the timing of you moving to me, bringing your money over at a time when the market was moving up like gangbusters. And Trump's election hits me the same way. His timing couldn't be better because we have been in the middle of a raging bull market. The Fed has just started a rate reduction campaign, which is going to continue all through next year, more than likely. And if they do, And on top of that, oil is at $70 a barrel, which is fairly low, relatively speaking. If here, write this down. If oil remains $70 a barrel or less over the next 12 months, I would say within 4 or 5 months, we're going to see a CPI number for measurement of inflation below 2%. And the goal of the Fed was 2%. So they would have absolutely met their goal. Below 2%. If it continues at that level, oil price, and they continue reducing rates, I'm looking at closer to 1 handle on inflation rate than 2. And that would just be absolutely phenomenal. But check me on it. In 4 to 5 months, when we get the CPI number, the inflation rate that's going to be released somewhere around that time, if oil has maintained a price of 70 or below, see if we don't have a sub 2% inflation rate. And of course, Trump's going to get all the credit for it. But, presidents get much more credit. The presidents are like quarterbacks. They get much more credit for wins and blame for losses than they should. But, we are on track for a raging bull market, I think, on into next year, toward the end of the year, and as far as out as I'll go. But 26 may continue in the bull, but too far out to say. But next year, barring an unforeseen event, and it's those unforeseen events that cause the problems. But if barring that, I think next year is just going to be another double-digit positive year for the market. So what does that mean? That means you need to be invested. And you need to have equities in your portfolio. You do. Talk to your advisor. If you've been sitting on the sidelines, you'd be kind of afraid to invest. You moved everything to money market funds because they were paying over 5%. Well, they're not paying that anymore. They're below 5% now. You need to talk to your advisor about moving into equities, at least for the near future. So there you have that. That's Jim's prognostication. I've said it on the air. It's recorded, and my feet can be held to the fire. There you go. And it's just time to be invested. That's all there is to it. So if you don't have a good advisor to talk with, maybe you've been disappointed in your person. Maybe your person doesn't communicate with you as they should. I'd love to apply for the job. Let me give you my contact information, and you can contact me, and we can communicate on the phone or by email or schedule a time to meet. In any case, none of that would cost you a dime or require anything of you. No obligation whatsoever. So my number at the office is, of course, 252-756-4700, 756-4700, 756-4700. My email is jim@jtauntonfinancial.com, and you can see how to spell my name over my shoulder here. jim@jtauntonfinancial.com. And my website is jtauntonfinancial.com, and you can get on there and learn a whole lot about me. And also, there's an inquiry page you can submit, and it'll come to me by email, and I'll reply if need be. But I'd love to talk with you and see if I can help you in some way. And we don't know that until we talk. So let's go to another break, and hopefully we'll have a call during the break. Say again?
Got a caller for you.
Okay, let's hold off on the break then. And let's, I don't see a text. I don't know what the name is. What's the name, producer?
Tim Seelman.
All right. Jim, this is Jim Taunton. You're on the air. Go right ahead with your question.
Nice talking to you, Jim. I listen to you very often, and I have never heard you give your viewpoint on precious metals, and I hear a lot of investment people telling me I need to do that, and I just wondered how you felt about that.
I don't use precious metals much in my portfolios. I went through a spell some years ago where I was using a gold ETF, which follows the price of gold. And I've never dealt in the actual metal itself. I've used gold mining ETFs, and I've used spot gold price ETFs. So, but I have none of that in my portfolio right now. I'm kind of the Warren Buffett philosophy. He'd rather invest in companies that have employees that hire people and make things and pay dividends and profits and earnings. Say again?
All right.
Yeah, that's what I would rather do.
I hear a lot about that, and I don't know anything about it, and I thought you might give me some insight into that, and I believe you have.
Well, good. I appreciate you. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Greenville.
Greenville. Very good. And I appreciate your kind words and picking up the phone and calling me.
Thank you, sir.
And your name, hopefully, is in the drawing for the Dinner for Two at Ottavola. You gave your phone number to the producer. I see it actually on the text. So hopefully you'll go to Ottavola on me.
I appreciate that. Yes, that'll be great.
Thanks, Tom. Or Tim. I'm sorry. You're Tim. Tim. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Go Pirates.
Go Pirates. Are you going to the game?
No, but I'm going to listen to it. I got it on the radio right here now.
Yeah, and actually it's on ESPN2 tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell about it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll pick it up. Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye. Yep.
Bye-bye. All right, good call. Let's have another caller during the break, and I'll talk to you after we come back. And the number again is 561-TALK, 561-8255. I'll talk with you in 2 minutes.
Aiden Golf and Country Club invites you to become a member. Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates, low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Aiden Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart, unless you like to walk. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Aiden Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection to the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
Welcome back to Financially Speaking. Jim Taunton, your host for the next, 10 minutes, actually. And didn't get the word we had a caller, so I assume we do not. That's a sad state of affairs. So I'll share with you some information that I discovered. In case you're wondering what the returns of the market have been under various types of administrations and Congress, control of Congress, I'm going to share that with you tonight. So if you're interested in it, you might want to write it down. Matter of fact, you can email me, Jim at jtauntonfinancial.com, and I'll be glad to email this slide to you. But when we have a single party control of government, so one party controlling executive branch and legislative branch, when it's the Democrats in control, this goes back to 1951, 72 years of history. That's a pretty good amount of history, 72 years. When the Democrats have controlled all three, we've had an increase of 8.6% on average. That was 20 years, actually. When the Republicans have controlled all three, and which has been 10 years, so not as much data, but it's gone up 6.7%. If we combine the two over 30 years, when one party controlled, the average increase in market was 8%, which is still nothing to sneeze at, okay? But I guarantee you, I have surprised a lot of people that are listening. But that is the historical data. Stock market has done better if we have single party control of executive, Senate, and House. We've done better under the Democrats. What about a divided government? When we have a Democratic president and a Republican Congress, we have averaged, and this has been 8 years, we have only 8 years of experience with a Democratic president and a Republican-controlled Congress. The average return is 16.3%. That is the highest number on this slide. Democrat president, Republican Congress, 16.3 over 8 years. When we have a Republican president and a democratically controlled Congress, which is a 22-year experience, we have a return average of 4.9% annually. Fairly low. So that's what we do not want, historically speaking. All right, when we have a Democratic president and a divided Congress, the return is 15.7, close to the highest number. When we have a Republican president and a divided Congress, 13.7. And of course, the average of all of these scenarios combined is 9.9, which is just the average return of the market, period, annually, going back 70 some odd years. But if we want to look at history as our guide, what we want is one of the three, but divided government for sure is the best. And it doesn't look like we're going to have that. I know that there are a lot of people listening. That sounded kind of braggadocio. I would say a large percentage of the people listening, whether it's 2, whether it's 50, are happy about a sweep by the Republicans, but historically we didn't want a sweep, we wanted a divided government. And I said that on the program prior to the election. So I'm not saying something after the fact. that I didn't believe. So, historically speaking, what we really want is either a Democratic president and a Republican Congress, or Democratic president, divided Congress, Republican president, divided Congress, based on historical performance of the market over the last 72 years. Now, if all this is historical fact, and it is, why do you think, Jim, that Wednesday we had such a movement in the market? It was interesting to watch. If you're not in the business, you don't look at the futures at night. I do. As I was watching the election results, I was also watching the futures. And like most of you, I got sleepy around 10:30, went to bed, but I woke up at 1 and 1:30. So I went in my recliner, got my tablet out so I could see what was going on with the election. And it was clear that Trump was going to be the winner. And at that time, the futures were up, Dow futures were up 1,200 points. And Dow ended up 1,500 plus points by the end of the day. But so it was an immediate knee-jerk reaction to Trump being elected. And I think the part of that is there is a perception that the Republican platform is just more business friendly. And it has been historically. Republicans have been about less regulation. They've been about lower tax rates for corporations. And, the populist statement about that is, they're going to lower taxes for corporations and increase taxes for middle class. Well, nobody's talked about increasing taxes for middle class, but lowering taxes for corporations, guess what that does? It trickles down to employees of these large corporations, and they're able to pay them higher salaries because they make more money and they charge less for their goods and services. There's a reason, there's a logic. The first time I ever heard the phrase trickle-down economics was under Ronald Reagan, a long time ago. And the Democrats were calling it voodoo economics. Ronald Reagan's side called it trickle-down economics. And guess what? We had 8 years of a tremendous economy under Ronald Reagan, and the market responded very favorably as well under him. So this trickle-down economics has some historical basis for performing very nicely. So I think that the market went up so readily because people just think that it's going to be a better environment for business in general. And also because it was an election coming and it was unsure who would win for several months, I think it's like a rubber band winding up, getting tighter and tighter and tighter. The market really wasn't moving much because everybody's waiting to see what happened. And finally, when it did happen, bam, the rubber band unwound and people started buying like crazy. So it was a good day. It was a good day. All right, I've got music in my ear. That means I'm out of time. Go root the Pirates on, if you will. Game time at 8 o'clock, and it is on ESPN2, the Deuce, national television of the Pirates. And as always, this is Jim Taunton helping you make all of your financial decisions good ones. Good night, everybody.